good evening, everybody, and welcome to the chat room with Graham and the parents of Tatyana Schoenmaker, Rene and Rene Schoenmaker. I think this is quite an exciting evening, and just by the responses that we've had from people joining in, it shows that it's a conversation that's long overdue, and one that everybody, I think, and believe will find very valuable over the next hour. We'll try and honor everybody's time over the next hour. My name is Stephen Ball, and over many years I've been involved in swimming and high performance sport. And I think one of the key elements that I've always seen in various capacities that I've been is the role of the parent, and how important the parent is in that process of supporting our athletes. So just by way of introduction, this evening, the national head coach for Swimming South Africa, Mr. Graham Hill, will be coordinating a discussion with the parents of Tatyana Schoenmaker, Rene and Rene Schoenmaker, and hopefully over the next hour, we'll get some insights from their perspective on what it's taken to support Tatyana to achieve the heights that we all know she has achieved. So from my side, Graham, thank you very much to you and to Swimming South Africa, and then to Cheryl and MJ and the swim coach team. Thank you very much for putting this together. For those who don't know, we've had over 600 people sign up, and we see that people are constantly joining in the conversation. And then also to Rene and Renske, thank you very much for giving up your time. I'm sure there's many people sitting at home in their pajamas, having their bite to eat, and dying to hear just a little bit more about what it's taken. So Graham, over to you, and thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Have you got audio? My audio is good?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Good evening, everyone. As you heard from Steve Ball there, a very huge turnout for this conference tonight, and talking to Rene and Renske Schoenmaker, parents of Tatyana, the people who are really responsible for all the medals she's winning. A big hello to you, and it's great to see the turnout tonight. And like Steve said, I'm sure many people are going to be interested to hear the journey that yourselves as a family and Tatyana have taken along the way to where she sits now in the swimming world. So without further ado, I'm gonna start firing away with questions. I have been given a whole list of questions already. So just to start off with, Tatyana, what age did she start swimming? And was it just purely to make her water safe, or was there a vision in mind for her to go on to become a swimmer?
No, we actually bought a house which had a pool, and you know, she wasn't swimming, so we started with being water safe, and so she started to learn how to doggy paddle and learn how to swim with clothes on and keep herself afloat. And over a Christmas period, Adrian Dory actually gave some speed courses in proper swimming, which we put her there, and from there on we never looked back.
Okay, so I'm going to get to Adrian Dory, the guy that started her off, but just a bit of background on the two of you. How many years now have you been swimming parents?
Close to 16 years.
Okay. And was it evident in her early years?
And still another 10 to go, I think.
I'm sure. Was it evident in her early years that she liked swimming?
Yes, that obviously she loved being in the water, and look, from an early age, doesn't matter what sport it was, she loved every sport, was always fanatical, always very competitive in whatever she did, even if it was tree climbing, for example. You know, she was a little bit of a tomboy, but she loved sports and swimming also. She really got into it and everything like that. Like she did, when she puts her mind to anything, from a small age already, you know, you can see where if she likes it, she goes for it full on.
Okay, and that's a good comment there, that if she likes it, she goes for it full on, because that's the next question. The question was, does Tatyana have a very competitive streak in her, or does she just like to do it all for fun? And you know, I'll just elaborate a little bit on that as well. I've had the pleasure of being around her over the last 8 years or so now, and Rocco and I talk and all that, and we've always spoken about her competitiveness. But I can let you answer that question. I'm sure you're going to enlighten the parents and let us know about her competitive streak.
She is very competitive, and it doesn't matter what it is.
But yeah, I think it actually starts off any game. It's a nice, fun game, but then after the first round, it starts getting competitive. Doesn't matter what, you know, if it is a sack race or any type of game outside of swimming, or you know, if you play tennis at a resort or wherever, you know, we go out for fun, but then it becomes a tournament and a serious competition.
And that has been from basically when she could walk, and but it's also so she starts doing it for fun, and then if she sees she makes a chance that she can win it, then she becomes really, really competitive.
Great, and I'm sure that's what the ingredients is to become great. You know, you've got to have that little competitive streak in you, no matter what you do. We've seen it over the years with the Michael Phelps, the Chad. They've all got it, and I've seen it with Tatyana, and it's great to hear it from you guys that you know it was there. I'm sure you've got a lot of stories of when she was younger and she was very competitive, doing just little small things at home. But moving on, we'll speak about Coach Adrian Dory. He coached her until she was 14 years old. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the question taught her how to swim.
Yeah. Okay. So the question asked is, why didn't she move to a bigger and more serious program during her primary school years, when she started to make provincial schools teams and podium finishes at SA schools and junior nationals?
We made a decision that there was a lot of time, and I wanted her to be a child. You know, not only focus on swimming, really, you know, flourish with her mates at school in netball, in hockey, in athletics, and let her do basically everything what she wanted to do. To try and see, you know, what fancies her. You know, we knew that she was very talented in swimming, but she was talented in everything that she does or did. But for us, the main thing was that we wanted her to be a child. You know, we really thought that if whatever she's going to do later on, and either it be hockey or netball or swimming, there's enough time for her to get down and look at it, but be a child first, because and that was the reason why we waited till she was 14.
I can actually just something onto that. We are both full-time working parents, so moving her from where we could cope at that stage of getting her to a pool. One day was Rene, one day was myself, one day was an au pair or my parents. Everybody got involved to get the kids to the pool. But it, you know, 3 times a week at that stage, we just couldn't handle anymore. So the other, you know, the bigger schools were asking morning trainings. They were asking for evening trainings, and it just wasn't in the schedule at that point in time.
Also.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear, because often you hear parents saying, got to get the kid to swimming, and I can't do this, and I have to do that. So, you know, you're not alone out there. Even the best, the Schoenmakers have had to do it. I remember, just a quick story. I remember with Tatyana, we did a screening clinic. I don't know whether you'll remember this. We did a screening clinic at Mandeville Dolphins, and we had these little girls in the one group, and they were going up and down. And I actually noticed Tatyana swimming there in the breaststroke. So I called her one side and I said, and it must have been just after she had left Adrian, because I think she was about 14, 15 when I spoke to her, and I said to her, and she didn't know who I was, and the little girls with her didn't know who I was. And I said to her, do you train somewhere? Ja, ek oefen met oom Rocco, you know. So back in those days, you know, it was already coming together, and it's great to see how it's ended up. Moving on to the next question. How did you as parents react if Tatyana didn't swim well or was beaten during her school years? During her school years. Maybe things have changed now, but during her early years.
It still hasn't really changed. You know, for us, and it's
I thought you were
always...
going to tell me it hasn't changed. Sorry, Rene, I thought you were going to tell me it hasn't changed because she doesn't get beaten. But anyway, yeah.
No. She will. She still got. She was beaten at the World Champs, but for us, it's a road. It's a road to where we want to. Hopefully, going to get and where we're striving to be. Yes, obviously, disappointment if she didn't win or anything like that. But it was always about the times, you know, and try to better yourself and see where you are, you know. It doesn't help when somebody is in a school years, or even when she was at high school, you know, to put yourself up to try to be somewhere that you're not. It's a journey that you have to go through, and you know, and every step of the way. And we knew that, and she also. So yes, in a way you're disappointed, but the bigger picture was always the times.
Sure. And then I don't know whether many people know this, but Tatyana went to boarding school at Tux.
Yeah.
And the question is, how did you know and when to move her to this boarding school and to a bigger program with more competition?
Tatyana, from an early age,
that's a big step. I mean, to send your child away to boarding school, primarily for sport. Yeah, it's a big step.
It was a big step, and we didn't take that one lightly, not at all. You know, Tatyana did well in the younger years, from the ages 8 to about 12, 13, just on her raw talent and the competitiveness that she had. Not because of the amount of kilometers that she was swimming and the training that she was doing. But then at 13, 14, when she as a person, as a child, started to become a little girl and everything like that, you know, it wasn't enough anymore. And, you know, we got to a stage that we had to decide, okay, if we're going to do this, we have to do it properly. Now, for us, as Renske said, you know, being working parents, you know, to get her to a pool 8 times a week and to a gym and land training and everything like that becomes a full-time job, which we couldn't afford, and we couldn't out of our jobs and everything like that, but we still wanted to give her the best opportunity to make something of the talents that she's got and the competitiveness. So we had met Rocco at a level 3 gala a year or two before, and we started talking to him and everything like that. And with the boarding school and with Tux, the high performance center, everything together just made sense in that point. You know, to give her everything that she needed, without having to sacrifice on this side what jobs are concerned and income had to concern. So it was a tough one, and she didn't like it at all. But it was one that we had to make. And looking back, you know, and as always, when you look back, it was the best thing that we did. but it was very tough because Tatyana's very much a family girl, and if she could, she would spend every day at home, but it was just not possible.
Well, that was the next question, because I had some inside information that she didn't enjoy the move in the beginning, and the question is, how did you manage that situation? Obviously, Mom, it must have been tough for you, and you know, your little girl's leaving home, and Dad, father's bond with his daughter is always tight, so that couldn't have been easy.
No.
How did you manage it in the beginning?
No, it wasn't
with her,
easy.
especially with her.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's older, she's got a younger sister. So basically, her sister from the age of 12, we didn't have a family bond during the week, you know. We were forced to spend 24 hours a week. So on Saturday mornings, we'll pick her up in Pretoria, and on Sunday afternoons, we'll take her back. So the only family time for the last, well, except now with lockdown, I mean, now we've actually spent more time now with lockdown together as a family than we've done since Tatyana moved out when she was 14. Yes, so it wasn't nice. You think of your 14-year-old sitting alone in a res somewhere, no friends. She had to change languages. She had to go over to English school. You know, it was difficult, and the calls were coming in, and the cries were crying, and you know, you were crying this side, but you cannot, you know, you have to be strong and tell them to move on. And I think what also helped with that is that obviously having Rocco that side, and he giving that support to her that side, he knew exactly how to you know, to handle her when she was down at the pool, or things that we weren't even aware of, you know. So but we tried to keep her positive. So when we pick her up on a Saturday, that whole 24 hours was whatever she wanted to do, that's what we as a family would do. And yeah, no, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
And Eska, you touched on something there with Rocco. You know, a lot of the swimmers, they get very close to their coaches, and possibly their coaches know a lot more things about them than the parents actually do towards the end. And you know, the question that's what I'm going to this. The question: do you discuss her coach with her unless she brings it up?
Never.
No, that was one of the things that we said. We are parents, he's the coach. So she'll come in and I'll maybe say, hoe gaan het met oom Rocco? Or, you know, it's all good. And if she doesn't say anything, I'm not going to scratch. So we are here for, if she wants to vent and say, yeah, oom Rocco, the set he gave us this morning is, you know, whatever, that's what we are for. We listen, and we try to create the negative, change it over to a positive, and you know, no pain, no gain. So but we don't, no, up until now, if she feels, you know, she wants to discuss something with us about him, that's up to her.
But we'll never.
So just a very big supportive role as parents.
Yeah, I think because she needs to, same as what she needs to complain about us to somebody else. So she's got her friends and say, you know, my mom is this and my dad's that. I mean, you know, same as what we do. If my husband I have to speak to my friend, or, you know, you have to have an outlet somewhere. So we, you know, if she wants to complain about whoever, a teammate or a roommate or the coach, or, yeah, that's what the parents, and I think the main thing is, well, from my side, I was not actually I'm not very involved with what's happening in the training side, but you have to change it into a positive, because I've got no idea what they are on. I don't know what the schedule is. I don't know what the process is in the sense of how many kilometers they have to swim. You know, I'm just here and I'm listening, and I say, but there must be a good reason for that, or, you know, and I always try to ask why you are doing it. Why do you have to, you know, understand it? And usually when you understand it, you'll be happy with the answer. So hopefully she'll go back to him on Monday and ask and sort it out. But I think that after a weekend at home, having a nice scalp chops or whatever, she's back for it on Monday again.
Okay, and the next question, how much contact do you have with her, Coach Rocco?
Then or now?
No, well, it hasn't changed a lot. I have a lot. Me personally, have a lot of contact with Rocco. Not about things, nothing about where she is with swimming and what we need to do, but more on a coach parent point of view. Where are we going? What are the plans? What do I need to do in order for him to make it work and everything like that. We have 1 or 2 times a year. We have meetings where we lay out the whole year what the plan is, where we are going, what the goals are. What is expected from us out of a financial point of view, or what he is planning, or everything like that. And there's basically where it stops. So I know exactly what the program is, where they are going, what I know the training schedule and everything like that. But that's it. That's because I want to know, but not because I want to interfere or anything like that. I just want to know where we are and where we are going and what we are doing it for. So galas, international galas, what are the times that we are hoping to achieve, and and all with a greater goal to hopefully do well at the 2020 Olympics, which is now in 2021.
Yeah, so it's and fair enough. I mean, the support role and the communication and contact with the coach. Am I right in saying it changes from your junior years? It's a different contact and it's a different supporting role as they progress and become world stars and superstars, and that there's other things that parents have to support and get involved with, planning the year and as you mentioned, their finances. I think a lot of people out there listening tonight are oblivious to how hard that road is, coming through the ranks and getting there until you finally get there where there is some financial reward and help along the way. Maybe you can just touch on that. Don't scare all the people away. Don't scare the parents away, please. We still want to have swimmers after lockdown.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But I think they need to be made aware of how difficult it is, Rene.
No, it is, and we have made, as a family, we have made big sacrifices in order to make it all happen. In the beginning, I thought, when she started to swim, and I thought, maybe this is something nice for her to do. I thought it's actually great, a costume, and here we go. Didn't know the prices of costumes, and then didn't know how quick they went through new costumes, and then all the things that come with it. The same as putting her in boarding school and everything like that. Those were big steps that we had to take and that we made, and the sacrifices that we made as a family. To just to give you an example, until 3 years ago, so being a swim parent for 16 years, that is 13 years in the swimming, we never been on a holiday together because there wasn't money for it.
No scary allemaal.
Now everybody is scared. Graham?
I think we might have lost,
yes, we've lost Graham.
Graham there for a few seconds. Maybe I can just take over a little bit there. There's obviously various questions that are coming in. Graham will just try and reconnect. Things are different down in Durban, up north here. So the data charges might look a little different. And just so that everybody knows, we are getting various questions and that are coming through, and we've received some prior to this that we will try and answer as much. But just we ran a poll at the beginning of this, just so that everybody knows that we about 65% of the attendees this evening are parents that are listening in. So thank you to all of you for taking time to spend some time around this. there was a question I saw that someone asked, at what stage did Tatyana leave, one of her other sporting codes? What did she do prior to focusing on swimming, or was swimming always her thing? And how did she then change? At what stage did she change to only focusing on swimming?
Okay, I'm back, Steve.
Okay, cool, Graham. I just asked him quickly a question. One of the viewers asked about at what stage did Tatyana change to just focusing on swimming and not have one of the other sporting codes. So maybe they can just sort of fill us in. And I see Tatyana has made a grand appearance. Hello, Tatyana.
Hi.
That actually started. She did all kinds of sports up to even when she was at Tux, her first year there, and was allowed to do everything like that. But then when she was 14, she made 15, she made the decision that swimming is the way forward. So up to then, she did netball, she did athletics, she did whatever she could, just to make sure she didn't always have to swim, or only swim. So, but at that age, she decided that swimming is the way forward.
Thanks very much, Graham. You can take over again.
Okay, Steve, thank you. Sorry about that. Wi-Fi is not good. Lockdown. There's obviously been some disappointments along the way in her career. I remember her missing out on 2016 for Rio by 0.01 of a second. How did you handle Tatyana's disappointment, and how did you handle your own disappointment as a parent? Because, I mean, to miss by 0.01, it's not so nice.
No, it is not nice. And it was not nice for her, and it was not nice for us. Because we felt for her that she, was so close yet so far away. But in the same token, very quickly after that, we also realized that, even though she was that close, it wasn't part of the plan that we had put in. So that also made the pain go faster, away a lot faster, as if it would have been in this year with qualifying for the 2020, for example. It would have been a bonus if she would have gone. But retrospect and very quickly afterwards, we also said, look, it wasn't that we were there already at that level was a bonus, but it wasn't in the plan.
Okay, and interesting question. Has Tatyana ever wanted to stop swimming? And if yes, how did you handle that with her?
With a wooden spoon.
Are you going to answer that, Tatyana?
Oh, I definitely did. I don't think for me at like age 14, I don't think I wanted to go away from my parents. And especially because I still enjoyed all my other sports. I kept on telling them that I'd want to do netball, and they were like, no, swimming. So I remember crying at night. No, I need to swim. But obviously at that age, I can't really say, I don't even know what the word talent kind of was. It's like you can't really say if you do. So I did give it a shot. I did blackmail them a little with a BlackBerry. But yeah, I went to the sports school, but then I still was asking Rocco if there was Tux netball, if I can maybe join, and he did allow it the first year. I went to 1 or 2 like netball training sessions, but they kept on doing fitness, but I knew I was fit enough. I just wanted to play ball, and then I just realized like the schedule with the netball and swimming won't ever like combined, and you can't really do both at such a, like, you can't give everything for both, and I don't want to kind of do anything half-half. So if I had to give like swimming a chance, like I had to really see if I actually enjoyed swimming, because even though I have talent, like I obviously have to love it, because you can't really put in all those hours if you don't really like it. So, then I kind of, after that, like for a whole year, it was really tough Rocco would always tell stories of how I wanted to go home. I was almost rushed to hospital because of our sugar levels, because I just kept on eating chips and stuff in hard training. But then, yeah, I obviously then decided, okay, I see I'm doing much better because of training and stuff. And I made my first team only at like 16, I think, end of 16. And then I saw what swimming was really like, making maybe a team and seeing like team and just like being able to represent my country. And then I kind of knew like, I'm quite good at this. So, then you start liking it as well.
But out of our point of view, we would only, try to support her through those tough, obviously, sort of pointing her towards the swimming and everything like that, but never pushing her, but just be there and be supportive in reason but luckily we had Rocco on our side as well. So from two sides, with the support and with Rocco with it and everything like that, we convinced her to give it a good go.
While Tatyana's there, she can maybe help us with this question as well. After returning to swimming, after just missing out on the 2016 Olympics, you had a major shoulder injury as well. How did you handle that time? And you as parents, was your approach any different to that disappointing miss for the Olympics? Was it did it change after that, your approach as a parent?
No, I don't think so. I think it was obviously tough knowing that I was going to be out of the water, but they did support me and like obviously financing the biokinetics appointments, getting me there because I had to come to Joburg to be able to go to the bio to get my rehab. But at the end of the day, they had to just believe and they had to know that I was going to go back to Pretoria and actually do the exercises, because I mean, they could spend so much money and I don't necessarily do it. So I think it was more like a trust thing. They were very supportive in helping me getting what I need. But then at the end of the day, me as an athlete obviously has to take the responsibility of actually doing the rehab exercises. And then when I go back for my second, checkup, knowing that I can sit there confidently knowing I did my side and my dad knows he did his side in supporting me, even if it was just like financially and stuff. So that's from my side.
And from our side, nothing changed. We try to make things happen for her in a way that we don't try to put any pressure on her shoulders. Be there, support her, and take her. Let her take responsibility for the things that she wants to do and has to do.
I like that. She must be responsible for her swimming. Very important. So there was a question earlier on that I didn't ask, but now you've touched on it. So you're not the parents that will sit with the logbook and take down all her times and show her times and know what she has to. You're not those kind of parents that do that kind of thing and sit with stopwatches and timekeep her at a gala or things like that.
I am a qualified judge. I did all the timekeeping, but I know her times inside out, but that's more out of a because I want to know. But I'm not sitting there talking times, and she knows what to do. She, that's why she trains. It's between her and the coach. I know what the plan is and where they want to go and everything like that. And it's a journey that we all go through. We're there just to support her if she wins, to support her, but also if the race wasn't that great and the times weren't that great, that what we were expecting, we are there to pick up the pieces and make sure that she's ready emotionally and know that she's loved and that we are proud of her. Doesn't matter what happens. We all have our good and our bad days, and we need to be for each other. But in my head, I know all the times, yes, but I've never written them down.
Great. Right, so the next question, and I don't want you as parents to hold back at all, because I've witnessed it and I've watched what Tatyana's done. So After many years of frustration and setbacks, Tatyana broke through at the Commonwealth Games, the World Student Games, and the World Champs. Okay? Did you always believe that she could break through? What did it feel like for you as parents when you witnessed all those great swims? And like I said, don't be shy. Talk about the emotions, because many parents out there have not been to the big show yet. And I've witnessed it firsthand watching you parents, and I would love you to express your emotions about all those swims.
You want to go first, or do I want to go first?
Don't cry now, hey, Mom. Don't cry.
Oh, you have to worry about Dad,
Yeah,
not Mom.
Yeah,
Take us through her first win was at the Student Games, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
She bypassed, I think we bypassed World Champs, Tatyana. We missed World Champs and we opted for, well, Rocco and you opted for Student Games, correct?
Yes.
So take us through Student Games, then obviously Commonwealth Games was huge, and then World Champs last year. So maybe take us through in that order. And just the feelings, and did you ever believe it was going to happen? You as parents, not Tatyana, I'm sure she believed it was going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's as you grow with any athlete, you know, you go through stages. You're in level 3, then you go to nationals, then you're in a SA team, and you know, you always, okay, now you reach the top of that section, now you have to go to the next. You know, I don't think I ever sat down 5 years ago and said, okay, Tatyana's going to be there. You know, as she grows, we were growing, and I think then you start, your goalposts are going further and further. So I think just from emotion, I mean, most of the times it was in Commonwealth, we were lucky to be there, but in the one before the World, yeah, you know, you sit in an office filled with your co-workers, and they've got it on the big screen, and you just cannot believe that it's actually your child that's swimming overseas, and the whole crowd of co-workers are supporting and screaming, and yeah, no, it's absolute chaos in the office. And then at Commonwealth, yeah, that was absolutely fantastic, the whole experience. Not expecting that, because the names she was swimming with or competing against were all Olympians. I mean, they had the whole CVs behind them. So, you know, what do you expect? You just go, okay, good times, go for your time. If you do a nice time, you'll be in a final. I mean, it's nice to reach the final, but to see her go, I know Rene was screaming so loud. I mean, the whole stadium was turning around to watch these two people absolutely going berserk, because you can't believe that it's happening, and she's passing and eventually she's in front. So yeah, I mean, it was emotional. It was something else. Yeah.
From my side, you know, obviously, you know, I as much as what she dreamt it, I've dreamt it from day one, and also made me much more determined to make sure that the road that everything that she wanted to do to try and get there was there. When the Student Games came, I was in my office watching the live stream and everything, and it was actually, I think, the second gala in her life or race that I wasn't there, which for me was also very strange. And to see her then in the 200 and get that medal, it was, I cried, I danced, I went home, I couldn't stop, and
I had a whiskey.
Yeah, and when we went to, and you know, and when we went to Commonwealth, and we were actually talking about it today. You know, being a swim parent, and for me, I've been basically to every gala that she ever swam. So I know how she looks in the water. I know if things are falling into place. And I was saying to her, when that 50 meters, when she did that 50, she came fourth. Yes, she broke the African record, but I knew things were going to happen because she looked so good in the water. And when then the 200 came, and obviously in the semis she swam the 2:23, I knew we were in for something. And and I know how she swims and everything. So when the final came, and it was here and there and everything, when that last 50 meters, when they touched together, I stood up because I knew that she was going to win, because I know her back speed and everything like that. And Renske was sitting next to me and saying, quiet, man, quiet. She hasn't won yet. I said, she's winning. And I haven't felt, and I was so proud. And so, because all of a sudden, everything that you have dreamt about, what you have done and what you have sacrificed together, and she has done, comes together with that one touch, and it's a 2:22.02, and she looks up and she sees us, and it's just big smiles. You can throw me away. I mean, I'm gone. I'm then done. Even now, if I look at it, I shoot up. I cry. I can watch it 10 times. I cry 10 times, and so we have evolved. And when we then get to world champs and she gets the silver medal, it's just unreal that to think that this little girl, which won her first gold medal in a 25-meter pool with butterfly, and she's swimming there and she's in the top 5 in the world. I mean, it's unreal, and makes everything that we have done, all the sacrifices that we have made, and if nothing happens afterwards, it's also fine. It made it so much worthwhile.
No, that's great. The emotions do get very high when you're watching your own daughters and sons out there at those big events. An interesting question now. Do you think a parent can actually make or break a child's career?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Unfortunately, it is like that, and we were lucky in that we in the way we handled, or I'm not saying that's the right way, but for us it worked. It is definitely, it is between the swimmer and the coach, and the parents should be the supporting act, and making sure that everything financially and everything that she gets to the pool, that is the job of the parent, and support them whatever happens, and the rest is between them and the coach. And if the lines get too skewed, then the coach can't do his job. The parent is not doing what he's supposed to do, and the swimmer is not performing because he can't.
Another question. Do you think the expectations now that you on the big scene, or Tatyana's on the big scene, do you as parents have big expectations every time she swims now? Or how do you handle that kind of situation that she's basically put everybody into by being up there with the best in the world now? I mean, when she goes out there to swim now, everyone's saying, watch out for Tatyana. Tatyana's the one. How do you handle that as parents? Do you talk to her about things like that, or do you just leave that up to her and to Rocco?
That is up to them. Obviously, we know what the plan is and where we want to be. Our plan, I mean, the pressure on her shoulders and on Rocco's shoulders are big enough that they don't need ours. So we try to put no pressure on them whatsoever. And I always say to her, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm always going to be proud of you. So that hasn't changed. We try to keep the pressure off and be as supportive as what we can, and are excited to see what the future will hold.
Okay, not to always put a damp on things, but now obviously we have been affected by this COVID-19, all of us. And as you mentioned earlier, you're spending a lot of family time together. So how are you guys handling lockdown in the Schoenmaker household?
For us, it's a blessing in disguise. It's a blessing in disguise, as Renske said. We haven't been able in all those years, because of swimming and galas and university, and for me for work and everything, haven't been able to spend so much quality time together. So as a family, it's been absolutely great. And we're feeling good about it. What is happening outside is obviously a different story, but as a family, it's been fantastic. You know, we've really finally spent, there's no pressure on us whatsoever, and we can spend family time together, which was a luxury in our household for many years.
Okay, Steve, I'm just glancing at the screen here and I'm seeing questions flying through. I'm gonna ask that one that was just flashed up there, because I think we've just touched on the COVID-19 with lockdown, but we've got Tatyana in the back there, so maybe she can answer this question, because I'm sure it was directed for her. I think the question was something like, how are you handling the lockdown, and what training are you doing while you're in the lockdown now, Tatyana?
It's for me, I've enjoyed every single day. I think I haven't had a day where I felt like, oh, this is getting too much, because I'm enjoying being at home and being with my family. Obviously, we are fortunate enough to have a swimming pool, but it's very cold. So I'm not in the pool at the moment, but I do land training and stuff. But the first 3 weeks, because swimming is also like, we're always so busy, and swimming is obviously the whole year round, so we never really get a break. So it was nice for us to finally like actually take a break, because I even took a break, I think, right before Commonwealth Games, and it definitely helped me. I just think I needed a good rest. So for me, in this lockdown, the first 3 weeks, I was just on complete chill, do nothing. And then the rest, now I do like land-based training, because we do land-based training during our cycle anyway. It's good to get back the strength and stuff, and work on the other things that you maybe don't get enough time of, like flexibility and stuff. But otherwise, I'll just try and strengthen condition in the same stuff, like muscle wise and for the pool and stuff. But yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, I suppose maybe, Graham, I need to ask Tatyana, are you going to be one of the 40,000 people going for a run tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Like the rest of South Africa.
My mom has asked me if I want to go run at 6 a.m. I looked at her, I was like, no, 6 a.m. I can't do that.
Maybe just to add to the lockdown question, maybe to Rene and Renske, I mean, what role do you think parents at the moment should be playing during this uncertain time that everybody's facing? You know, because I mean, we all know that the swimmers live for their competitions. They've lost their major competitions for the season. So what role do you think as parents we should be playing during this time?
And I can only speak out of my own personal opinion and the way I see it. You know, with everything with COVID-19 going around and with the lockdown, it has really reset all the buttons that we have had and have to basically go back to all the basics again, because whatever we're going to do and what's going to happen, and we have to start all over again. So make sure that family time is very important. She was talking about the training that she does. We actually do that with the 4 of us in the afternoon. Obviously, we are not so flexible, but I'm a bit stronger in other points. So, you know, there's always a little bit of competition, who can touch his toes and everything like that. You know, I'm not doing too bad. But for us and for me, it's getting back to basics, enjoying the family, making sure that we look at things, what we have, our health, us as a family, and build on that, because the rest is unknown.
Yeah, and it's also nice because we can actually use this time to like plan for the rest of the year. So I think because it's like everyone is financially struggling and stuff, so that makes it a challenging thing as well. So now we have to plan for what we're going to do after. We can't just go back to normal and like go and compete wherever, because obviously it's the finances and stuff are more hard and stuff, but now we can at least plan, especially now going to the Olympics, we can plan on what are we going to do the next year. So I think this is like the best time for us to actually sit down and really like invest our time in planning
the way forward.
And I guess that links up with previous experience that you had when it came out of injuries and stuff, you know, having to recalibrate.
Yeah.
Steve, I have one last question. What advice would you give to those parents whose kids are striving for the international swimming careers? As parents, what advice would you be able to give parents out there?
You know, support them, try to pave the way for them, that they can, what training and try and find for that person the best coach, because that is, and we haven't, us as parents, we support it and we do it financially and everything like that. I just want to make one mention in that, the coach and the athlete is actually what it makes. If those two are like two hands on one stomach are at one, then you got a winning formula. And as parents, we need to look for that coach and support the child or the athlete in making that choice who they want to be, not who we want to be her coach, but who she wants or he wants to be him or her coach, and support that and let them do the things they need to do. And if that bond is good and the supporting structures from the back, we were very lucky with the University of Pretoria, with Swimming South Africa and Tatyana sponsors and everything like that, that we would, in the later years, that we could build the whole team around it. But in the beginning, it was us and Rocco and Tux who made this happen. And if it wasn't for Tatyana and Rocco having that, and we all know she changed coach in between, which wasn't that the other coach wasn't good or wasn't a good coach, but the click that Tatyana and Rocco have is out of this world, and that is something that for parents and for athletes is vital.
I think I can just add to that, knowing that they have got a good relationship, Tatyana and Rocco, we can totally step back. We're not interfering with their plan. They can do what they want. They decide what they have to do. We get informed, but I think that helps a lot. Maybe if there's not so much trust in the coach, then there's too much interference from the parent side. But I think don't interfere. I mean, don't change the plan and stick to the plan. Sit down, like we said, get your yearly plan ahead. Things like international things did not happen in 6 months. It was years and years of planning every year. Okay, at the end of this year, we need to be there. At the end of that year. So it takes time. Don't try to rush the plan.
Maybe, Graham, if I can add just this, we received a question prior to the webinar around studies, and I maybe just want to start off firstly by congratulating Tatyana on graduating, even though it was a virtual graduation 2 weeks ago. And also to the parents of a graduate, congratulations. I know that adds different dimensions to the journey. So one of the questions we got before and said, many of the top swimmers in South Africa opt to go to the US system, for example. What made you as a family decide that you needed to stay rather in South Africa and attend the UP and train within the TUC system?
As said before, our family is very, very, very close. And it was difficult already to send her to Pretoria, which for us is 70 k's down the road, which is not far, but it's still 70 k's. And knowing Tatyana and everything like that, and we talked about it, and but she has always been adamant that she is South African. She wants to train here. She wants to study here. And when she wants to go home, she wants to go home. And that was basically, and we didn't have to go anywhere. You know, you guys have got all the facilities with coaches and everything. The support systems are there. So we didn't ever have to go anywhere but Pretoria.
Thank you. There was another question, and I think this maybe just we're getting close to the end of our time, and we want to honor everybody's time, especially now with family time. There was a question around, as parents, what role did you think that you played in guiding her during the different transitions over the many years that you were involved? Whether it be at school level, into university level, and now she's now a postgraduate. So she's so what role do you think the parents play at those different transitions?
I think that is a question that you need to ask her. Out of we are just the support and supplying her with the tools in order to do what she does best. The swimming and the studying was to do that both, and especially the graduation that she did, or the degree that she got, is very tough, but it shows you her determination and everything like that. From our point of view, has always been that there is life after swimming, so we have to make sure that if swimming doesn't get us where there has to be something to fall back on. Tomorrow she gets in heaven forbid that she gets in a car accident and something happens and she can't swim anymore. So at least we have something to fall back on. Makes it tough, but it also makes you a better person, because I've always said, if you think you're busy now and the stress is there, welcome to real life. This is how it is.
Yeah, correct. So maybe just before we just sort of do closing remarks, just for those people attending the webinar, you'll see there's a poll again. If you could maybe just answer the poll, it would be really great. Also for Swim Coach to understand a little bit more about what you'd like to hear in future. So if you could do that for us, we'd really appreciate it. And then maybe Rene and Renske, from your side as parents, what would be that one little key snapshot or snippet you would like other parents to leave this webinar with, that this evening, when they walk out here, they say, you know what, that was the nugget that I needed to hear?
Well, that's a very good question. As a support athlete, trust the person that and make it happen for them. I think give them all the tools that they need, and if they're not going to make it, don't be disappointed. A lot of people in life and in business, they want to become a multimillionaire and they want to do this, and some people make it, some people don't. But be happy with what you have achieved and what you are going to achieve, and realize that whatever you do and whatever you achieve, it's an achievement already. We always strive for the best, but be supportive. That is the only thing that I can say. Be supportive, and be it an Olympic champion or a level 3 third place, or it doesn't matter. Be proud for the achievement and for the work that's been put in by the coach, by the athlete, and they can only come stronger out of it, and they will learn valuable lessons for later in life, which is basically what we need to do, which we as parents are set out to be doing.
That's awesome.
Okay, Steve.
Yes.
On my side, I'd just like to say thank you to Rene and Renske. Please keep supporting your daughter. You're doing a good job. So just keep it up. And Tatyana, thanks for joining us. Steve, it's been great, and I look forward to doing something soon with everybody again. But enjoy lockdown, and yeah, let's hang in there.
Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Stay healthy,
Thank
everybody.
you very much. Yeah. Maybe just for all the coaches and the parents out there, just a little quote to finish off. In the rush to return to normal, use this time to consider which parts of normal are worth rushing back to. And have a good one. Be safe, and may you all enjoy your 6 o'clock run tomorrow.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.